Thousands of young people in our country are complaining about the high student loan debt. Outstanding education debt has outpaced credit card and auto debt. The average college graduate leaves school 30,000 in the red today, up from 10,000 in the 1990s. Every day, 3,000 borrowers go into default. The debt is so great that they see themselves spending their whole lives paying it off. Many of them are looking for the government to help them out. But is forgiving college student debt a good or bad idea? Forgiving college student debt is a bad idea. Before we can determine this valid conclusion, let's consider what the problem entails, who is involved, and some possible concerns with this suggested change. Student loan debt has become a 1.5 trillion problem in our country. A Forbes analysis from the year shows that the average college graduate from the class of 2017 left school with $28,650 in unpaid federal and private student loans. More than 44 million borrowers also owe their share, with more than 1.3 owing six figures or more on their loans. With debt like this, young people are having to delay purchasing homes and starting families. Many cannot even afford rent and are forced to live with their parents. This has caused many students and politicians to consider how the government could create legislation to forgive their student loans and wipe their debt by raising taxes on the wealthy. Both Bernie Sanders and Senator Elizabeth Warren have come up with plans to cancel student loan debt. The Sanders plan would cancel $1.6 trillion of outstanding loan debt, and the Warren plan would cancel $640 billion of the debt. Both would make all undergraduate programs at public colleges and universities free. This would reduce the need for people to borrow, but would not get rid of student debt in the future. That's because most student loan debt isn't taken out to attend undergraduate programs at public colleges and universities. Most loans are used for private colleges, for-profit colleges, most of all graduate colleges. Graduate programs like law school, medical schools, business schools, and master's degree educations are expensive. The loans for these schools have no cap on how much students can borrow and will allow the cost of books, supplies, and living expenses. This is why hundreds of graduate programs produce an average loan balances of $100,000 or more. So even if Sanders and Warren's cancel all undergraduate debt tomorrow and made public undergraduate programs free, there would still be debt piling up the very next day due to graduate programs. The Sanders and Warren plans are also differ in eligibility. The Sanders plan has no eligibility requirements. All 45 million student loan borrowers are eligible for student loan discharge. This includes both federal and private debt. The Warren plan would cancel $50,000 in student loan debt for every person with a household income under $100,000 and cancel substantial debt for every person with a household income between $100,000 and $250,000. The problem with this is it's completely unfair. What do the people who struggled for 20 years and paid their loans off? Many of them are unable to buy a home, had fewer or no children, had not gone on vacation, not eaten out, to be able to pay off their debt and do the right thing. It's a slap in the face to them. They can never get back the money they spent paying on their loans or the years living with a lesser life because of it. Sanders and Warren also have different ways they want to pay for their plans. Although each says they are only going to tax the wealthy and Wall Street, Sanders will fund his students' loan forgiveness plan with a new tax on financial transactions, which he expects could raise more than $2 trillion over the next 10 years. The tax plan will include a 0.5% fee on all stock trades, a 0.1% on all bond trades, and a 0.005% fee on all derivative trades. The problem with this is even many middle-income Americans have a 401k plans and mutual funds. Each time their money is traded in their funds, they will be getting taxed. Warren's plans would mostly most likely be funded with a 2% annual tax to levy out accumulations of wealth exceeding 50 million with an additional 1% levy on wealth exceeding 1 billion. The problem with that is there aren't that many wealthy people earning that kind of money. The people that do have that kind of money have enough of it to pay accountants and lawyers to make sure they use all the tools that they can reduce the total that they will have to be taxed on. They can put the money in things like trusts and corporations and avoid paying the taxes. Neither of these plans take into account since they will be offering free undergraduate education on an ongoing basis that will need to be paid for too. Just estimate a free undergraduate education will cost $75 billion a year and would be paid for by taxpayers. Although Sanders and Warren have made an honest try to fix the problem of student debt, neither of their plans will fix the problem of why student debt is so high in the first place. Before we can cancel the loan debt or make tuition free, we should first do a better job of reducing waste and holding institutions and students accountable for outcomes. Almost 2/3 of American adults go on to a higher education after school. Should all of them be really in college? Are they all of them good at academics or working with their hands be better for some? Unfortunately, right now in our country, young people are all being told they need to go get a college degree in order to get a good paying job, so they are going and many of them are dropping out. About 19% of Americans enrolled in college but never earned a credential of any type. That's nearly a third of students. These students have wasted their time and money on something they probably didn't have the skills for in the first place. The colleges don't care because they're receiving money if the student graduates or not. They don't have to co-sign on student loans, and they continue to get the government substantials even if their graduation rates are low. There is no incentive for colleges to be more selective of who they let in, whether the degrees they provide will help students get a job after graduation, or to compete against each other and offer cheaper tuition rates because they get paid no matter what the students are willing to continue to take out loans.